Professor Bhatt, Professor Sambhu Prasad, and friends, I am delighted to be here. For a long time I used to introduce myself as Tushaar Shah, formerly of IRMA. But now, thanks to Professor Bhatt, I can introduce myself as Tushaar Shah, IRMA. I think it's a very, very important meeting because there is a ground that IRMA had begun to occupy in the 1990s, which for a period we abdicated. I think in the early 1990s, IRMA had developed its own viewpoint, which was actually shared by the entire faculty group because all of us worked together on answering that central question: what makes farmer organizations click? And when we say that a farmer organization is succeeded, what exactly does that mean? Does a farmer organization that just runs viably for 10 years, is it a successful farmer organization? What is the dashboard that we have when we try and analyze and compare different farmer organizations? Very important questions. In the old world, when we are talking about cooperatives, and now in the new world, when we have a different lexicon, but for analyzing essentially the same question, I think that the discourse has not changed one bit. We are asking the same questions today as we were 25 years ago. This is one difference. Actually, when we were working on farmer cooperatives, one of the things that we kept on talking about was that after 1970, there was hardly any new cooperative of significant size that had come up in India. Almost all the cooperatives that had become big were all set up before 1970. So there was a complete cessation of the entrepreneurial activity that created farmers' organizations of different hues. And I couldn't really understand what was happening. But in the last few years, with this FPO movement, we see that there is a new groundswell of entrepreneurial activity. There are various kinds of FPOs that are being created, being catalyzed, being nurtured, and numbers change. Somebody says 3,000, somebody says 7,000. But there is a lot of activity in this field. And I think it's extremely important. And I think it's also extremely important that we have a center called Incubation Center. Because unlike investor-owned organizations, unlike the startups that we keep hearing about, farmer organizations or cooperatives will not come up except for external incubatory action, external promotion action. It's very rare that a farmer within a community itself will take the lead and will have the capacity and the resources to bring the community together into a cooperative or a farmer producer organization. So it's extremely important that there are external agents who are able to play the promotional role, that hand-holding role, that strategizing role, and then in due course of time, when the FPO comes into its own, then withdraw and allow it to. Now, I think this is an extremely important part of farmer organizations, and there is no management institute which is going to look at this, because most management institutes don't concern themselves with entrepreneurial action. If you go to IRMA, nobody teaches, there is no course in IRMA which teaches you to become an entrepreneur. They basically teach you about how to manage a business that an entrepreneur has set up. Let Ambani set up the business, and then you guys go and run that business as Ambani wants. But when it comes to farmer organization, I think we are talking about a very different kind of a context. The quality of incubation, the quality of promotional activity or promotional process that we bring to bear in creating an FPO, and the level of intelligence that goes into the creation of a new farmer organization is the cause for success, is the reason for success. Actually, when we completed that 1992 workshop, there were some very bold, actually almost reckless statements that were being made and defended. Which is that, I remember in one of the 12 or 13 separate workshops that we were having, there was an argument on which there was a lot of discussion. I think one of us, maybe I, made a statement that if you get the design right, and actually we were looking for a language to describe what we have found. You know what Professor Bhatt mentioned that the basic business is that if there are 7,000 organizations of FPOs and if there are 300 which are doing very well and 6,700 which are not doing very well, according to whatever criteria you have, the first thing that you have to understand is what is it that those 300 doing differently. We applied the same method to cooperatives. And then we found out that cooperatives which worked, which grew, which became big business, they were doing some things differently, but that were not accepted. They were actually so unorthodox that they kind of revolted some people. An example, even today, if you go to South Gujarat, there are about 70, 80, 90 sugar cooperatives which are doing a total business of maybe 40, 45, 50,000 crores every year, which all 7,000 FPOs together probably don't do. Now, even today, the Bardoli Sugar Cooperative, if you want to become a member of the Bardoli Sugar Cooperative, you have to buy a share which gives you a right to supply cane at 85,000 rupees. It's a share of 1,000 rupees. But that share is just not a token of the equity capital that you contributed, but it also is the right, a very valuable right, to get your cane processed to sugar. Now, when we had case studies on that, and people from the cooperative institutes, they were just repaired. They said, what nonsense. I mean, this is against cooperative principles. A cooperative share cannot be traded. But if you actually go into the internal working of the sugar cooperative, you find that it's so central to how that farmer organization has grown. It is the route through which the members ensure that they keep getting good board of governance year after year after year. And I think there are lots of it. So we found lots of such insights, which actually raised questions about the orthodoxies that dominate the discussion on cooperatives and farmer organizations. And the other major thing that we found was something that actually I don't think at that time we were able to describe very well. So we called it design. But in the next, since then, I think thinking in management and entrepreneurship has changed a lot. In the recent times, there are a lot of people, a lot of management schools are talking about design thinking, which is a way of thinking about business or about problem solving. After all, what is design? Design, when we talk about design, in the back of our mind, design means something, creating something aesthetic. No, that's not that. Design is about form and functions, which kind of we tinker with in the process of problem solving. It's essentially about problem solving. It's essentially about creating value. So what we were trying to say by saying design at that time was that you cannot create a strong farmer organization unless you can think of a new way of doing a business. If you try and organize farmers in managing the business in the way in which it is done at present, then there is very little chance that if you have a cooperative that is based only on aggregation economy, or just pooling of the produce, and then the market conditions remain the same, you do not have a sustained competitive advantage over the people who are doing that same business before you came in. So you will keep on struggling. If you want to create a robust organization, then you need to rethink the way this business is. If you want to do that, you have to understand the whole economy. You have to understand how that business works elsewhere in the world. Only then you will create new opportunities for creating value that others aren't able to create. Once you do that, then you have to figure out that if you create this value, how do you make sure that others don't pile on? Because then the farmer cooperative with higher transaction costs will easily lose ground. So that's why they designed. It's not just creating a business model. It is not just creating a new product. But it is actually creating an entire edifice which makes sure that you create value that nobody else is able to offer to the farmers, and then make sure that farmers are able to control that value creation process over time, even when competition tries to dislodge them from those opportunities. So this is what we are trying to do. It's not very easy to convey. After that, of course, IRMA basically moved out and we had some work on cooperatives, but I think this was a hypothesis that needed to be stayed with. And I have stayed with that, and I have actually, every time I talked about it, people say, what's the proof? I mean, you said design, show it. How do you create the design of an organization that, another bold statement that was made in that workshop was that if you've got the right design, or with the like Shah Rukh Khan, कि अगर शिद्दत से डिजाइन कौन अच्छा बनाया है रोबस्ट, then पूरी कायनात लग जाएगी आपको. After I moved out from IRMA, I started working on water issues with IRMA students during fieldwork in 1980s. But after I moved out of IRMA, I found that nobody was funding research on cooperative. But there were many agencies which were willing to fund research on water. So my attention shifted to water, and for a period, I kind of didn't do much work on testing this hypothesis. But for 15 years, I worked on groundwater, and that was also very interesting, very important study. And I found that one of the biggest crises that we face in our country is groundwater depletion. As a country which had received the world's largest canal irrigation infrastructure at the time of independence, by 1990s, we had become the groundwater champion of the world. India's 25, 26 million tube wells, which pump more groundwater than America and China together today. And the consequence is that from Punjab down to Tamil Nadu, groundwater crisis has basically become our biggest. So I kept on working a lot on that, and I eventually found that it was a policy-created crisis. That because of the political gridlock in which state governments were kind of stuck, they kept on subsidizing power, energy to farmers. So in Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, farmers get free power. So all of them have auto switches on their pumps. And basically, a lot of power is supplied during the night, so these pumps are always on. Whenever there is power in the grid, the pumps keep running. So you find that the entire western half of India, it is experiencing a crisis of epic proportions, which nowhere, and if you look at the international literature on environment and so on and so forth, then the groundwater crisis of India is actually, a big ticket issue. So we've been basically looking for practical answers to doing that, design solutions to dealing with that. So in 2000, 2001, we actually argued with the government of Gujarat that, look, you can give free power or subsidized power, but you cannot give unlimited free power. If you want to give free power, but then find a way of rationing free power. After all, farmers' need for power is different from your and my need for power. I want power 24/7 in my house, but farmer needs power only when he needs irrigation. No farmer irrigates every day of the year. There are certain peak periods of the year, again around Dussehra, for example. Every Indian farmer wants to water his crops. If you identify those days, and you give farmers as much power as they want on those days, free. But on other days, when there is no need for irrigation, why just keep the power running? So Modi's government took up that idea, and they actually rewired the entire Gujarat's countryside. So all the tube wells were put on one feeder from a substation, all the other consumers were put on another feeder. And after doing that, they did that in a campaign mode. In 3 years, every village was rewired. And they imposed a ration that farmers can get only 8 hours of power. 1 week they'll get the power during the daytime, the other week they'll get the power during the night time. Now, this put a cap on the total amount of groundwater that farmers could pump. But this was a second-best solution. It was not the best solution. The best solution would be to meter every tube well and tell farmer, you are a consumer like anybody else. If these people are paying 7 rupees, if you're poor, then you will pay 5 rupees or 4 rupees. But there will be a cost that you will have to bear for the energy that you use for pumping groundwater. Then all this crisis would automatically get solved because you created that crisis. In 2012, solar pumps came on the scene. Until then, for 20-25 years, solar was thought appropriate only for lighting. Say you have a big panel, you can light a bulb with the solar, so for lighting, etc., it's okay. But in 2012, solar pumps started being used even for irrigation. First the 1 kilowatt pump, then 2 kilowatt pump, then the pressure from farmers started increasing. And government of Rajasthan started subsidizing 7.5 kilowatt solar pumps to the level of 95% of the capital cost. Gujarat also announced a 95% capital cost subsidy. As someone who is looking at groundwater crisis as a direct result of power subsidy, I was appalled. I thought this is the way to serve them. Because if this goes on, solar pumps rising at a rate of 65-70% a year, in 2025, our entire groundwater economy will be completely solarized. Now today, grid-connected farmers get about 400, 450, 500 hours of usable power in a year, which limits the amount of groundwater that they can use. If you replace that by a solar pump, then he gets 2,500 hours of daytime power of top quality without any interruption. What will this do to groundwater? Farmers will start irrigating even during those months when they have never grown any crops, because you have free power with top quality power. So we began working on that and talking about it. Now, here is a larger background that the government of India and the state governments and the power distribution companies, the annual subsidy bill for electricity, free electricity to farmers is about 100,000 crores. Even after 100,000 crores of power subsidy, farmers everywhere are unhappy because quality of power supply is very poor. Most of the power delivered to them is at night. So before every election, state and central election, power supply to agriculture becomes a major issue. Here was an opportunity. So we thought that if we replaced the grid connected tube well of a farmer by a solar pump, and we also connected that solar pump to the grid, and we offered him a token price for all the power that he generates but does not use for irrigation. Would that kind of reverse this? So in 2014, we got a small research grant, and there was a farmer about 35 kilometers from here, so we gave him a solar pump of 7.5 kilowatt, and we requested the local company, electricity company, to connect him to the grid. We said, we will pay him. You just meter his pump. And we watched the change in his behavior. Obviously, after the first month, the money started kicking in. His entire outlook changed, because until then he was using power that cost him 60 paisa per unit. Now he was getting power at 5 rupees per unit, because he's paying 5 rupees for every unit that he did not use for irrigation. So our initial hypothesis was vindicated. Somebody gave us another grant of $100,000. So we went to a village called Dhondi, and we persuaded 9 farmers there to solarize their tube wells. And we asked the MGBCL, the local distribution company, to again do the same thing. He said, you're back. I mean, can't keep buying 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 units of power every day from thousands of different farmers. So if you can create a microgrid and they meter them at one point, we will pay them on a bi-monthly basis, and then let them distribute among themselves in proportion to the amount of power that each one of them has evacuated. So this basically created that microgrid. And we thought it was a very good experiment, so we kind of began to wax eloquent about it and wrote papers on that and so on and so forth. 6 months later, we found that hordes of farmers started coming from different parts of Gujarat first, and then from different parts of India. Gram Panchayat members, because many newspapers wrote, farmers in Gujarat make money by selling electricity to the distribution company. Farmers never thought that you could actually grow energy as a crop, or solar energy as a third crop. So we basically called it solar energy as a remunerative crop. So basically you're creating a new crop that farmers can grow. By then we had been monitoring the Dhondi example, and we found that the income that they were getting from selling energy was nearly as high as the net income that they were earning from all the. These were of course very small farmers. None of them had more than a hectare of land. I think 7 out of 9 were just 2 or 3 bighas. So their crop income was not very small. But even then, I think the income that they earned from. So initially we thought that this would change their incentives, but later as the thing progressed, we found that 60-65% of the power that they generated was evacuated to the grid. And every time they used to switch on the pump, they used to think twice, because every hour meant 25-30 rupees of loss. So NDDB got interested, because they've always been interested in cooperatives. So the chairman of NDDB landed up, and he spent 2 hours with the farmers in Dhondi, and he says, how does this work? What are the benefits? Now in 6, 7, 8 months, there already was, the farmers themselves, we didn't have to do it. The farmers had all the information. There was a design in the making, that here was a reliable buyer for something that you produce, who buys on your doorstep. There is a price that is guaranteed. There is a foolproof system of metering. There is a meter on your tube well. There is a meter for each farmer at the central metering point. There is also a meter for the total pooled power. So every day you can check whether the power that has gone out from your panels is correctly metered at the central metering station and at the common pool. So some kind of a rudimentary design was in place. So NDDB chairman came and he says that, look, we are supposed to be cooperative creators, so let's try this out in other. So there was another village just 20 minutes from here, where they created another such cooperative. The difference was that their cooperative was created by farmers who had surrendered their grid connection. For a farmer in Gujarat to surrender his grid connection is a big thing, because a grid power connection for tube well is a lifelong entitlement which is extremely valuable to a farmer. So nobody would give it. But they persuaded farmers to surrender the grid connections in lieu of the solar pumps, and of course there was a microgrid, and they also started getting paid a lower price. In Dhundi, we offered them a price of 7.5 rupees, which is a very attractive price. The DISCOM had offered them 5 rupees and 4.5 rupees, and we put a bonus, 1 rupee and 25 paisa per unit as energy conservation bonus, and 1 rupee and 25 paisa as a water conservation. We just wanted to see whether the behavior changes in response to an attractive by that price. Now, and the NDDB cooperative also did very well. Then the Minister of Energy of Gujarat landed up, and he spent half a day talking to farmers in Dhundi. Now, I think this is the example that I am giving of reorganizing a business, spotting a big economic opportunity, and see how farmers can gain out of that. The same economic opportunity, Maharashtra has a different model. It has a different design. There is an NGO called Prayas, which is an energy focused organization. They have sold to their government a plant in which there is at each substation, there is a 1 or 2 hectare land that is given by the government to a private developer. So a private businessman sets up a solar plant, the DISCOM guarantees him buyback for all his surplus power, but that solar plant is used just to solarize a feeder. The farmer continues to get free power, but he can't sell surplus power. Now, we had a problem with that because we thought that if farmers get free power, good quality daytime power, then it's fed to groundwater. It's going to get worse. So he'll neither get money, nor will we have groundwater benefits. But the advantage of that design is that it's easy to scale out. You can bring the animal spirits of the solar industry to come and set up solar plants on a big scale. Only time will tell whether that spreads faster or our design in Gujarat spreads faster. But Gujarat already has a scheme called SKY, under which it's aggressively pushing this. There already are 20 feeders today, where farmers are evacuating solar energy. And by 2019, the government of Gujarat started its 1,000 feeders. And I mean, this is very recent, but it illustrates a point that if you have a right design which is based in a detailed understanding of the macro picture, then what are you doing? You're basically creating a gravy train. You're creating a gravy train, and you're designing a protocol through which farmers can keep control on the gravy train and make sure that somebody doesn't whisk it away from them. So I think this is something. I mean, when you spell it out like this, it sounds very simple and very obvious. But I really think that the solar feeders that are coming up, they I think are kind of very good examples of what will turn out to be eventually robust farmer organization. So I'm extremely happy that we are talking about incubation. Incubation is the name of the game. Now we need to perfect that game. And IRMA is correctly placed to take a lead role, especially with so many partners who are fitting with various designs at the ground. So I wish you well, and I really hope that we make rapid progress in this. Thank you.